Dear students, Jai Hind, very good morning and welcome back. Understand, today we are going to start a new chapter in chemistry, the only chapter left. That is what we are going to start. Understand, as you all know, in as far as chemistry is concerned, there are 5 chapters. Chapter number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That first slot of your textbook is of chemistry. We have already completed 4 chapters, as you know. Okay. Today, the chapter which we are going to start, that is chapter number 5, periodic classification of element. That is what we are going to start today. Before we start this particular chapter, I must brief you about one very important aspect which we observe in nature. Understood? So, chapter number 5, periodic classification of element. Okay, and today you are attending lecture number 1. Let me write the title of the chapter. Okay, chapter number 5, the last chapter of chemistry which you are attending today, that is periodic classification of elements. That is what the title of the chapter is. Okay, and my dear student, you are attending today in that lecture number 1. Okay, lecture number 1, chapter periodic classification of elements. That's the title of the chapter. Okay, now my dear student, the name of the chapter implies the meaning that this particular chapter, understand, periodic classification of element, has something to do with classification of elements. Understand, one more thing, we just want to discuss one very important aspect. Why? The idea of classifying elements came in the mind of the scientist of the world. And actually, periodic classification of elements is not a gift of any one scientist. It's collective effort of so many scientists put together. Understand? And there is valuable contribution of many scientists. But the basic thing is how the idea of classifying elements came into the mind of the scientist. My dear student, one thing we are observing such a beautiful world around us, which is actually the gift of nature, you may consider a supernatural power. That's nature. It's a gift of nature to us. And everywhere, if you minutely observe, there underlines some regular patterns in the growth of plant, a regular pattern in the growth of animal, a particular pattern is observed. Everything, if you minutely observe in nature, it looks like that everything is working in sequence and in proper way, governed by some specific rule which are maybe not known to human being, but that's the rule which are governed by nature. Understood? There are some rules underlying. Just take an example if I want to mention, my dear student. Some pattern if you observe. Suppose number 7 is considered a very important and pious number. Just try to list out all things and objects you know which are 7 in number. Try to understand 7 oceans, definitely. 7 continent, one more discovered later on, but initially those 7 continent, 7 wonders of the world, 7 number, such an important number. 7 wonder of the world. Then weekdays, how many days in a week? 7. Again, some particular pattern is observed. Speak the musical notes. Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Dha, Ni. 7 notes. Classical musical notes are when somebody speak to suppose during the conversation of husband and wife, sometime wife or husband says કે હું 7 જન્મ તમારો સાથ નિભાવીશ. 7 birth, again number 7. During marriage ceremony also, husband and wife takes P.S. 7 rounds, 7 ફેરા આપણે બોલીએ છે ને, there is 7. Start speaking with me. Om Namah Shivaya. Count the number of words. Om Namah Shivaya. 7. Speak Salam Malekum. 7 letters. So then in rainbow, 7 colors. Sunlight, white light is made up of 7 color. Understood, my dear student? 7 number appears in so many aspects. I just talked to you. How can it happen? There must be underlying some pattern. And the number 7 is most important. There must be some patterns underlying that. And scientists of the world are ultimately, though they are all human beings only. So they also started, like just now we were talking about number 7, they also started thinking that there must be some pattern regarding elements found in the nature. Understand? And this is not a history of just 100 years back. It is a history of almost 200, more than those years back, where scientists started thinking. At that time, when they must have started thinking or understood around in 18th century. So they do not have such huge laboratories, understand, with such high mechanisms, ultra artificial machineries, experiment tools. They do not have all this at that time. Then also the question always must be the question must be penetrating their mind, understand, every now and then, that in nature there must be underlying some pattern regarding all these elements. If we just talk about around 1800 AD, there were only 30 elements known at that time. Today, though, we are almost aware about 114 elements and more than that also. At that time, only 30 elements were known, and scientists were trying to solve some underlying pattern in the chemical properties of element, and at that time also they were sure that we have to classify elements according to their properties. So many scientists of the world, and initial effort was made also. They were able to classify elements at least by observing some physical and chemical property. They were at least able to classify element as metals and non-metal, which we are also today accepting, that whatever elements found in the nature can be categorized in two main division, metals and non-metals. No doubt some other element were found later on which has contrasting combination of properties of metals and non-metal. We call them metalloid or semi-metal. That's different concept. But basically, so we have divided as per our observation and study whatever elements found in nature as metals and non-metal. But no doubt we divided into metals and non-metal, but the question is still revolving in the mind of the scientist at that time, was revolving, that though we divided all elements, whatever limited number of elements at that time, only 30, but there was also a question at that time, though we divided elements as metals and non-metal, this was the first thing, understand, that all elements found in nature, all elements found in nature, only 30 at that time, around 1800 AD, not more than that. 1800 AD, almost 220 years back, understand. So actually elements were classified no doubt into two categories for certain, okay. They were classified as based on our observations and their property as metals, okay, and non-metals. But still, one question was still revolving in the mind of the scientist, that though we divided elements as metals and non-metal, do all metal have same property? Do all non-metal have same property? No. There must be underlying some rule or pattern which was not observed by scientists at that time, and lots of scientists were engaging themselves in finding some particular pattern based on which we can classify elements. कोई तो pattern हसे, some pattern. Based on this we can classify elements. Many scientists must have contributed, but the first contribution came understand, which is noticeable by the scientists of the world, that first contribution came from actually Dobereiner. Understand, one of the German scientists. Understand, not only scientist, he was chemist also. And he came forward with some idea regarding classification of element. His full name is given in textbook, Johann Wolfgang Dobereiner. Understand? But in short, we always speak Dobereiner's classification. He was the first one who came conceptualized regarding classification of elements in just in 1817 AD. Understand, my dear student. So, our today's topic, just now we were just briefing you, understand, but today what we are going to understand is Dobereiner's classification. Okay, that is what we are going to study today. Topic 5.1.1, that you can understand. Okay, this is the topic we are studying now. Dobereiner's classification. Okay. Okay. Actually, it is known as Dobereiner's triads, but I have intentionally not written triads. I am intentionally writing classification because I want to highlight it later on. Understand? Now, my dear student, how Dobereiner gave the classification of element, what he must have done, like other scientists of the world, he was also thinking that there must be some underlying pattern in the classification of element. He was also of the same view, and he tried his best to classify element. What he did, he must have done, uh, we are just getting the knowledge from book, we were not existing at that time, but what he must have done, the basic difficulty at that time was there was no conceptualization of atomic number, my dear student, that I should mention. Dobereiner gave his classification around 1817 AD. And at that time, my dear student, no concept of atomic number was there. This concept came later on. So at that time, atomic number was out of the scope. At that time, only atomic mass was considered one of the properties of element. So what if we start thinking what Dobereiner might have done? So what Dobereiner had done, all elements known in his time, first he estimated their atomic mass. This was the first thing he done. He estimated, means calculated, the atomic mass of all elements. Then he started arranging all elements in one row according to atomic mass. This was the first thing he must have done. Don't consider his contribution, understand, minor, because that created actually the base for developing modern periodic table later on. He was just preparing the base for us on which we constructed a huge building of modern periodic classification of element. What he did? He calculated atomic mass of all elements, arranged all elements as per increasing atomic mass, and then, my dear student, what he started? He started studying their chemical properties. He must have taken first element, then he wrote its chemical properties. Second element, wrote chemical properties. This way, he is bringing out his information regarding chemical properties of all elements. After he listed out chemical properties of all elements, he started studying one thing, that let us group the element having much similarity in their chemical properties so that you can group them together. That doesn't mean that element in one group has entirely all chemical properties similar, but 98% chemical property are similar. So what he did, he understand the chemical properties of each element and he started grouping the elements having chemical property together. When Dobereiner was grouping element in this, he gave importance to two factors. Which are those two factors? First, these two factors he concentrated when he was classifying elements and grouping them together. Actually, what he has done, that's why I will highlight this word. Dobereiner classification is also known as Dobereiner's triads. Why triad? Triad means three. So he started grouping three elements together. In one group consists of three elements. It is also known as Dobereiner's triads. What uh, while while making groups of three elements together, he gave importance to two factors. First, suppose I am just trying to explain you. Suppose you take three elements. Suppose, my dear student, A, B, and C. Suppose you make means Dobereiner must have done it. Suppose you select three elements in one triad. So what is special about that? That the atomic mass of middle element, suppose I show it by BA. B means element, BA means its atomic mass. Atomic mass of middle element is approximately the average of atomic mass of first element and third element. This was the first concept he concentrated on. What he said while he was making the triad, wherever he selected three element, he was about one thing. No doubt, first though you have to take three element, arrange them as per increasing atomic mass. But when he made such triads, on which factor he concentrated that atomic mass of middle element is the average of the atomic mass of first and third element. This was first factor he concentrated, and the second one, that is much similarity. Okay, much similarities in chemical properties. My dear student, he concentrated on these two aspects. Why I have written these two aspects? Because it happened in exam that you may be asked just in 2 mark. They will not ask, suppose, explain Dobereiner triad, but they ask, okay, while preparing classification of element, on which two factor Dobereiner concentrated. So my dear student, you should know about two. First, tell me, in making triads, he he concentrated on one fact, that atomic mass of middle element is the average of the atomic mass of first element and third element, and second factor, obviously much similarity in chemical property. So concentrate, my dear student, on two aspects mainly. That is lesson on two aspects. Which two aspects? Group such a way that, or preparing triads of element such atomic mass of middle element is the average of the atomic mass of first and element, and the second factor, that is much similarity in their chemical property. He concentrated on these two aspects. But my dear student, when he concentrated on these two aspects, he put genuine effort for this, but he could make only three triads of it. Three triad means triads of only how many elements? Only 9 elements. Suppose, my dear student, three triads which Dobereiner made, one I list out here, one there. Suppose first triad, let me write triad 1. In the first triad, Dobereiner included three elements: lithium, as you know the symbol. I am just writing the symbol, not the name. Lithium, Li. Sodium. Sodium એટલે doesn't mean SO, it is natrium language, that's why Na. And potassium. This is the first triad he made. My dear student, you are almost about atomic mass tentatively. Lithium, atomic number 3, you know, around 3 point something. So atomic mass is generally the double of that. Understand? So almost 6.9 around. Chalo. Sodium, you all know, atomic number of sodium 11, atomic mass around double than that, 23.0. Potassium, my dear student, you all know one thing very well. Potassium atomic number 19 point something and double karo to 13, 39 something, understand? 39.0. Understood? આ બેને પ્લસ કરીને એની એવરેજ યુ ફાઇન્ડ ઇટ તો 39 પ્લસ 6.9 around 46 divided by 2 23. Understood? So this way he made first triad. First factor is satisfied, yes. Atomic mass of sodium is average of atomic mass of lithium and potassium. Not only that, they had much similarity in their chemical property also. Understood? At the same time, my dear student, he made another triad also. Let me write another triad here, triad 2. He was able to make 3 triads only. Suppose triad 2. In this, he included 3 elements, that is Ca, Sr, as you all know, and Ba, barium. If you just calculate their atomic mass, understand calcium atomic number 20 around 40.1, whatever they have mentioned, understand barium we all know, double karo 137.6 around, okay, and Sr 87.6. આમાં પણ તમે ચેક કરો my dear student. If you just find the average of atomic mass of calcium and barium, it turns out to be the atomic mass of strontium, understand, 87.6. So this is second triad. He could also make 3 triad, third triad also. First, you need to remember this triad. Why? Because in exam they may ask you list out 3 triads made by Dobereiner. So you should know third triad also. Triad number 3 in that again included 3 elements of higher order. You all know about halogens. He made 1 triad of halogens also. He took in this triad chlorine, as you know my dear student, bromine and iodine. Chlorine, you know, atomic number around 17, tentatively karo એટલે 35.5 something is atomic mass. Then bromine, that is 79.9 and 126.9. Here also my dear student, again the atomic mass of barium is the average of atomic mass of chlorine and iodine. Not only that, they also similar chemical properties, much similarity. Mostly all properties are similar. Here also both the factors are understood. But my dear student, याद रखो, when we will discuss about another scientist contribution, that is Newland's classification, Mendeleev's classification, modern periodic table. At that time I want to just highlight that whatever contribution came from the other scientists later on, maybe Newland, maybe even in modern classification of element, my dear student, you will find all these elements in one column only. Understand? Suppose Mendeleev or Newland or in modern classification of element we'll discuss, you will find lithium, sodium, potassium in one column, means in one group only. You will also find these 3 elements in one group. I will remind you that time. You will also, this so you know, chlorine, bromine, iodine, all are halogens only in one group. So, my dear student, make one thing clear. Though Dobereiner was unsuccessful, understand, we don't have that. Actually, we are so small to say that he was unsuccessful, understood? And we are not as much knowledgeable like he was, but at least as it was estimated by the scientists of the world that Dobereiner's classification, understand, was not accepted by the world. The reason, in Dobereiner's time, I told you in 1800 around 30 elements were known. So he gave this classification in 1817 AD. So in those 17 years, 5, 6 Nova element must be there. But then also he could made triads of only 9 element. That means, my dear student, he could classify only 9 element, which is not acceptable to the world, because your classification has to be in such a way that it may, the classification should be such that in future also whatever concept used by you in classifying element is sufficient and capable enough to classify the newly discovered element later on, but that Dobereiner could not. He could classify only 9 element, and he could made only 3 triads he could make. That's why the classification made by Dobereiner was not accepted by the world. Understand? Now, one more thing, my dear student. Then also the contribution given by Dobereiner has to be considered one of the most valuable contribution, because I must, it is not in textbook, but I must utilize the word. He was pioneer in making some regular pattern or observing some definite pattern in classification of element. That's why we consider his contribution most valuable. Understood? Now, why I have written 3 triads and why I am insisting you to remember all 3 triads with atomic mass, because it can be asked in MCQ. If name of 2 elements are given, which is the third element in the triad, so you should remember. Not only that, in triad atomic mass of 2 are given. What is the atomic mass of first element? This way you can be asked. Understood? That's why you need to remember triads, all 3 triads along with their atomic mass, because it may happen that in exam you may be asked a short note of 4 marks, suppose, or 3 marks. Describe Dobereiner's triad. At that time, my dear student, you need to have enough fact and enough content with you. Flexible thoda 4 માર્કમાં પૂછાય તો something to be written 2 to 3 line regarding Dobereiner also, that he was scientist, chemist, like that. He worked here, he studied here. થોડું લખવું પડે to make a lengthy answer of 4 marks, but basic concept is he concentrated on 2 facts. Which were those facts? First, he made the triads of element in such a way that the atomic mass of middle element is the average of the atomic mass of first and last element. Not only that, he observed much similarity in their chemical property. So based on that, he could tried his best to clear the never consider even in exam you are asked write limitations of Dobereiner's classification. So you can write this that Dobereiner could make only three triads of element. That means he was able to classify only three element or only nine element. Rest of the element he was not able to make their triads. Understood? And when he was not able to make their triads, we can consider Dobereiner's classification universally acceptable to all. You understood? That's why, though his contribution is valuable and prepared the base for preparing modern classification or modern periodic table, understand, but it was not accepted universally by the scientists of the world. Okay, my dear student. So in today's lecture number 1, we discussed about Dobereiner's classification. In short, it can be also said as Dobereiner's triads. Okay. So this is clear in your mind. Okay, my dear student. In next lecture, we are going to study valuable contribution by some other scientists of the world also. Okay. So for today's lecture, thank you very much from Bharat sir.